How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting, and welcome back to Muv-Luv Monday, where we're here in the day after episode 3. We just had a meeting with the guy from the... can't remember its name, but the company that makes a lot of the TSS for Japan. And, yeah, it just seemed like there's a lot going on behind the scenes that even Captain Komaki's being kept out of the loop of, which is not great. I feel like we're being completely outplayed here, and very unfortunate. In fact, I kind of wonder if they specifically wanted to try and get the Komaki and Hibiki away from the peace conferences for some reason. Like, that's kind of what my guess is that they just didn't want them around, because they may have worried they might have interfered in some way. So we'll have to see how this goes. But anyway, we're about to have a heart-to-heart with Captain Komaki and then see what the fallout is about all this, because apparently there was really no point, because like all the things that Captain Komaki wanted to bring up to one of the head like developers and dealers of the company had already been taken care of. And they also had the really odd thing where it seemed like there was a coincidence that all the majority of the staff and products to build a new food plant and a TSF like factory were all loaded up onto cargo ships at the time of the Babylon crisis. And someone pointed something out in the comments that we'll have to see, because they were saying, like, what if with Takaru being in the picture now, we know that he's doing the looping currently. So if he's been able to gain access to some of his old memories, which could account for why he's so depressed, possibly, perhaps that's how the Imperial leader is in so much control and is like got all these machinations going on. What if they knew what likely was about to happen with the Babylon incident, and they were prepared by making sure that the most important parts of infrastructure were on the ships? Because, like, if you think about it, what a great position for Japan, who was about to have no homeland, to suddenly be the one who could have the best options of providing food and TSFs in the near future. So, I'm not sure if I quite agree with that. I feel like Takaru... I don't think it's likely that Takaru's gained much of his memories, because that seemed to be kind of anomalous to the alternative timeline, and part of why alternative happened. So I'm hesitant to think of it, but maybe he's so depressed because he got his memories after the fact. Like, maybe, but then that wouldn't explain why they were ready for Babylon. So yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe there's something to that, but I thought it was a valid theory, something I hadn't thought of, and so I want to share that. So thank you for that. But remember, no spoilers. So like, don't let me know if it's right or wrong. Just like, yeah, we'll keep it there. Anyway, let's get started.
Komaki 隊員。
なんだ。
先ほどの会合、自分としては十分な成果が得られたと思うんですが。
ああ、そうだな。
やっぱり納得いきませんか?
Salvaging TSFs left behind in the low oxygen zones should start in about 2 weeks from now, and the Eagle series will be given top priority. The old man didn't commit to providing extra spare parts for the Shiranui, but that's the next best thing. I wasn't aware it was even a possibility. Not gonna lie, learning that the Royal Guard will be stationed in Seattle for the time being came as a bit of a shock. But having said that, it ain't like the IJMDF and the Royal Guard are at each other's throats, so the extra manpower is welcome help. Man, this is starting to get way too complicated for my liking. Maybe I should invest in some colored string and an evidence board for my room? You might want to, buddy, because like, this is getting complicated.
立浪。
はい。
貴様は大解放の時は欧州にいたんだったな。ということは、日本国内の混乱は知らないのか?
Oh, I imagine it was insane.
はい、知りません。
そうか。
もしかして、どうしてイカルガ閣下が脱出命令を出すことができたのかを気にしてるんですか?
大解放は誰にとっても想定外のことだった。G 弾投下直後に襲った地震と数々の大規模自然災害。それで終わると誰もが思っていたはずなのに。
それだけ閣下がバビロン作戦の中枢に近かった。もしくはコネがあったってことじゃないんでしょうか?
I mean, the other thing that could be a possibility is Yuko-sensei. Like, I'm guessing she was on the ships that left, but what if she left a warning Because I imagine she foresaw what was going to happen, which is why she was so desperate to prevent it from happening.
ではなぜ命令の齟齬が起きた？いくらあの当時何もかも混乱していたと言っても。
Yeah, that's the thing that really bothered me too. He told a majority of the common people to get up to higher ground, but then he made sure that key infrastructure was on the water. Like, if he knew, then he consigned to the majority of Japan's population to death. Which maybe he didn't, it's seen as like the, you know, like, he couldn't save everybody, so he saved the critical to make sure Japan would be successful in the future, but like, that's a cold order to make, and I can see why that would bother her.
本当に仙道専務はそんな命令を受けたのだろうか。
え
110万トン規模の食料の即時援助。生産プラントのカナダ領への即時移設。
Wait, the relocation? Ooh.
アメリカ東海岸都市部のフランスへの恒久的租借。同時に東海岸に展開しているアメリカ軍の西海岸への引き上げ。以上がフランスとカナダからの要求です。
That's not gonna work.
随分と多くの提案がなされましたね。
交渉術の一環ですね。要求するのは向こうで、妥協するのはこちらという線引きなのでしょう。
That's a good point, Makabe.
それにしても110万トン規模の食料援助とは。アメリカが農業大国といえど、中西部の穀倉地帯を失った今では難しい数字なのではないでしょうか。
Yeah, the Midwest produces an insane amount of food. Like, absolutely insane amount of resources.
余剰在庫がどれだけあるのか、当然ながら公開されておりませんが、現在のシアトル市内の食料流通事情から推測するに、対応は不可能ではないかと。
Yep.
それだけの量、フランスはかなりの人口を抱えていると言っていいのでしょうか。
私は過剰要求だと見ています。バイオエタノールの原料分を見ても多すぎます。角度の高い情報と合わせて鑑みるに、その半分で十分でしょう。ざっと見積もって4、50万人。多くても100万には届かない。それがフランスの人口だと予想しています。ですから、要求は明らかに過剰です。
Man, an entire nation like that's strong enough to be a threat to other nations at this time on Earth. 40 to 500,000. Like, I live in a city that's within that population range. Like one city in one state in the United States. That's crazy.
アメリカはどのように返答したのですか？
保留しています。明日以降の会議で返答すると言っていました。
Okay.
もしこの要求を本当に叶えようとすれば、アメリカは自国民を飢えさせることになるのですね。
おっしゃる通りです。それはありえないことです。もともとお互いの正体すら見えない状況での休戦です。交渉というより時間稼ぎと言った方がいいのかもしれません。
That's the crappy thing. We sacrificed so much, and it could be being leveraged instead of actually achieving peace as just a delay tactic.
して、我が国は、イカルガ港はどのような提案をなされたのでしょうか。
我が国の生産プラントの一部を解体し、原子力空母に併設して移動を可能とし、カナダ領海内にて食料生産を行うという提案をされました。
A section of it, so only a portion of it.
その計画では、生産が開始されるまでどれくらいの時間が必要なのでしょうか。
少なくとも3ヶ月程度の時間は必要という見積もりです。それでも考えうる最速です。生産プラントの基幹技術を公開し、彼らに建設させるのであれば、3年はかかる話ですから。
そうは言っても、食料不足が深刻であるのは事実でしょう。でなければ、このような愚かな選択はしないはずです。
The implication there, of course, is that this is her fault.
他者より上にあることを願うあまり、やらねばならぬことの本質を見失っているような気がします。いかにしてより多くを生き延びさせるか、それこそが考えねばならないことでありましょう。我が国単独ではどれだけの食料援助が可能でしょうか。
米の一粒たりとも出せません。出せば国内の治安が維持できなくなります。これ以上市中への配給量を削っては暴動につながりかねません。
He's actually got a point there.
現在生産プラントを限界まで稼働させております。幸いにして我が国は人口が少ない。余剰が発生するまでの時間も短く済みます。
どれだけの時間が必要でしょうか。
Maybe a year.
最短で半年。国内治安を優先するのであれば1年。
That's quite a way to do it. Half a year if we rush, a year if we prioritize law and order. If we don't enslave the masses to make the work go more quickly, we'll take a year.
悠長なことを。フランスは明日の話をしているのではありません。今日まさに食料が足りないのでしょう。
Yeah, but so do we. That's the problem. It's just not enough to go around.
ええ、フランスはそのように主張しています。
我々は餓死者が出ないように努めなければいけません。
御意に。
カナダの反応はいかがでしたでしょうか。
発言を避けている節があります。いずれにせよ、本日の会議ではお互いの立ち位置を明確にしただけですから。
イカルガ港はどのように動かれるつもりなのでしょう。
アメリカと歩調を揃えるとしか申し上げられません。
Makes sense.
わかりました。報告は以上ですか。
いえ、ベータに対する防衛協力について取り上げられました。
Right, because we got a new monument to worry about.
現存する唯一の地上配部である JFK 配部がかつてない速度で成長しているという報告はすでに差し上げていますが。
JFK Hive. Yeah, I'm growing more and more confident in my guess that, unfortunately, the core of the hive, because remember, the hive needs an intelligence to guide it, right? What's an intelligence that the beta would be attracted to that could have been on the JFK that would have drawn the beta to it? Because remember, it's what happened in the Operation 21st and Alternative. They blew up the monument there, but then Yokohama came under attack because the beta were seeking the core that was there. Now, the core was big, so I don't think that's still there. But there is something beta smaller that has a mind that could be potentially used as a substitute core. I think it might be Samika. I think they were drawn to her, and they're using her as a core intelligence on the JFK. And if that's right, that's really crappy. I hope I'm wrong, but it kind of makes a lot of sense.
観測の結果、近日中にベントが開くのではないかという報告がありました。
If a vent opens, that's where they start being able to launch new potential monuments.
ベント。打ち上げが始まるのでしょうか。
まともに観測が継続できる状況ではありませんから、詳細は不明のようです。
Yeah, if it launches to space too, it might request reinforcements. Because again, they were able, it sounds like, to destroy the original hive, and the first hive has like the central intelligence. So the beta are acting on a very like automated system now. Part of that automated system might be to send out a request for a new mind.
JFK ハイブが活性化し、南米を経由してベータ軍が北上してきた場合、人類は低酸素地帯で戦闘しなければなりません。
And beta, don't worry about that. Remember, these are things that like took over the moon. Like oxygen is not a problem for them. They have alternate means.
それはやはりこのような時に人類同士で争って益があると私には思えません。
恐れながら殿下、そのようなことは誰もが思っていてもままならぬのが現実です。ですからご自分の意見を聞かせたいのであれば、相手を力でねじ伏せることも必要になると覚えていただきたい。
I wish you were wrong. I wish you were wrong.
自らが信じる道のために時には手を汚す。それは殿下ご自身も覚悟されていることではないですか。無論それを望んでいるわけではありませんが。
But
そなたの考えはよくわかりました。 お下がりなさい。
御意。
He's a bloodthirsty one, huh? Well, crap. His Excellency Icaraga knew what would happen to Japan. There's no way that can be real. I refuse to believe it. It's barely above a conspiracy theory. Or so I wish I could say. The problem is, Captain Kamaki's logic is pretty darn airtight. And she's right. The real god is responsible for the deaths of millions of Japanese people.
あら、
おう、エレンか。何かあったの
What
か
a shake up from that thought.
残念ながら響を探していたわけじゃないのよ。戻ってきたことすら知らなかったんだから。
Oh yeah, should have said something.
いつご期待で？夕食外で食べてきたの？いなかった。
Oh, clicked early, sorry.
いや、まだ食ってない。ちょっと食欲がなくてさ。
どうしたの？何かあった？あ、小牧大尉に絞られたんでしょう。この前のこと。
I wish that were the problem.
いや、そうじゃないんだけど、まあいいや。それじゃあ俺、行くわ。
Pretty much everyone who comes here wants to be alone with their thoughts, and Ellen's no different. I wouldn't want to get in her way.
ああ、待って。むしろ好都合かも。やっぱり、誰かに聞いてほしいのかな。
Okay.
それに、そっちも何かありそうじゃない？よかったら聞くけど。
Maybe not a bad idea to take her up on her offer. I mean, you're sort of better off thinking about this stuff on your own, but that doesn't mean you can't ask for help. Ellen's a good listener and a straight shooter. She's great looking, so people expect her to be kind of a ditz, but appearances can be deceiving, as they say. I'm glad we have that sort of relationship where we can pretty much talk about anything, depending how things turned out.
何よ、その生温かい目は。悪いけど、そういうことなら勘弁してもらうわ。
Uh-huh.
なんだよ、そういう。
私とゆずか、どっちを選ぶか悩んでいたけど、私が先に来ちゃったし、よし、こっちだ的な？
ちげえよ。
私は、ついでじゃなくてちゃんと選んでほしいわけ。わかる？
It's really trying to be like a romance game now.
わからん。
Always with the innuendo and insinuations. How the heck am I supposed to tell if she's serious or not? I think she is. She just says it in a fun way.
でも響、雫はちょっと早すぎるんじゃない？
Oh gosh.
だから
There are moments when I wonder if it's okay to leave Miyono in her care, like right now. She's having a laugh at my expense again, ain't she?
わかったわ。でもね、神宮寺少佐のことは諦めなさい。響じゃ、箸にも棒にも引っかからないわよ。
I wonder if that's true. It's probably true, but still.
あら、ショック受けちゃった？ちょっと、本当に？
No, it's more that you even bring this up.
アホ、どっと疲れたんだよ。かなり重てえ話だけど、お前ならいいかと思ってたの？
Uh-huh.
ったく、もういいよ。
ごめん。でも、少しは気が晴れたんじゃない？そういう時こそ、心に余裕持たないと。
どんな話かも知らねえくせに。
どんな話だって同じよ。深刻に言えば状況が変わるの？一層気持ちが追い込まれるだけじゃないの？
I mean, that's fair, I suppose.
それは。
Can't say anything to that.
ま、とにかく行きましょうか。
行くってどこに？
そういうのは、一杯やりながらって相場が決まってるでしょ。食べるのよね、夕食。
Interesting. I ain't really in the mood, but feeling blue won't make the situation any better. Gotta stay positive.
わかった。けど、できるだけ賑やかなところにしよう。人には聞かれたくないからさ。
いいところじゃない。適度に広くて、適度に席が離れてて、適度にうるさい。
I'm a little worried though. Like I don't want to not trust her. I think Ellen's great. But I'm kind of terrified that this is exactly the kind of information she would be digging for if she were a spy.
ちょっと前までなら 値段も割と手頃だったんだけどな。
仕方ないでしょ、この状況じゃ。4カ国会議、早く落としどころが見つかればいいけど。無理かな。
お前がそんなこと言うなよ。もしかしたらカナダがこっち側につく可能性だってあるだろ。
The trouble is, if Canada were to try and like go on our side, if France is desperate enough, France might just try and coup them, you know, and like they're pretty good, well positioned to do that.
元はといえば、あいつらだってフランスに土地を奪われたようなもんじゃないか。
Eastern Canada has been a French leasehold for quite some time now.
奪われたってさすがに言い過ぎ。フランスが避難先のケベックで取った最高政策は今でも対比国家の幸福なお手本と言われてるほどなのよ。
And with the history of Quebec, it actually makes a lot of sense that when France lost its homeland, that would be a place that it would like to migrate to. I mean, its primary language is already French.
それは知ってる。再建国の父、なんとかタベール外交官だろ。欧州に派遣されている時聞いたことあるぜ。
It's thanks to this dude's tireless diplomatic efforts with Canada, and most importantly with the United States, that the French people have a place to call home.
なんとかじゃないわよ。そう、ローラン・ダンベルクール。
I think I've heard that name before too.
けどフランスはその頃とはとっくに変わっちまってるだろう。大解放の時に起きた革命、もちろん知ってるよな。フランスの恩人を連中は自分たちの手で殺したんだ。それ以来譲歩の余地もないような強硬姿勢をとってる。
They literally took him out during that time? That sucks. Japan saw significant potential upheaval during that time too. Significant political upheaval, sorry. And much like in France, blood was shed and a new order was born. At the end of the day, we ain't any better.
ええ、分かってるわ。この間の生産プラントのことだってフランスが何らかの形で絡んでいるのは間違いないと思うし、でもケベック出身の私としては正直フランス人は同胞みたいなところがどうしてもあるのよ。
Right.
ああ、そうか。
私はカナダケベックの出身でもフランスケベック出身の知り合いはたくさんいるわ。そんなだからスパイだって疑われるのよね。仕方がないけど。
Espionage, huh? Yeah, that's gotta be why Major Jinguji told me to keep her under observation. I thought she was only telling me to keep a close eye on her, but nope.
この話はやめよう。お前を軽く励ましたかっただけなんだ。悪かった。
気にしてないわ。それよりも響の話をしてよ。重い話って何なの？
ああ、実は大解放の時のことで知りたくもない事実を聞いちまったんだ。事実、正確には予測でしかないんだけど、状況的にはほぼ間違いないと思う。
Hideki, I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like, A, it's speculation, and the nature of it, like, if it is true, it's the kind of information that could potentially be deadly. The kind of information that could turn a lot of things that are currently stable on their head. I don't know if I would tell anybody this, let alone a defector. Like I said, I would want nothing more than to trust Ellen. She seems great. She's a fantastic character. But I would be terrified that I could potentially, like that 0.1% of me would be like, there's enough risk, I don't think I would say it. I don't think I would talk about this with anybody. Because it's too dangerous if true. And if it's not true, it still could be kind of dangerous because it could breed conspiracy theories. And that, like, you can see plenty of examples of how that can run away quickly. So, whilst I would, like, understand he wants to get it off his chest, I really think he's making a bad decision here, even hinting at this.
続けてくれる？
バビロン作戦で G 弾が大量投下された直後、地球規模で重力異常が発生しただろう。お前、その時どこにいたんだっけ？すぐにそれを体感できたか？
This is where that other game steps in. That's the story of her story.
ああ、 ごめん。その時私上にいた。起動効果のために低軌道上で待機してた。だから。
そういやそうだったな。かくいう俺も欧州の船の中だったわけだけど、これは日本国内の話だ。始まりは風と地震だったらしい。何とも言えない異常な揺れの地震が5分以上続いたって。空を見れば雲がまるで早送りの映像みたいにブワーッと動いていて、とにかくおかしな状況だったらしい。
Can you imagine, like, so yeah, the sky's like pulsing like that, and the clouds are literally like rippling. Like, that's actually pretty, like, that's also what we expect if a massive asteroid strikes the planet, like what it would look like. That would be terrifying to see.
雨と風がどんどん強くなって余震が何度も起きて、橋や高速道路が落ちたりもした。でもそれでもまさかそれ以上のことになるとは思ってなかったって話だ。
It's like so loud I could hardly hear him.
そうでしょうね。こんなことになるなんて誰もわからなかったわよ。
Except for two potential people, Yuko Sensei, and if Takaru got his memories, Takaru.
もちろんブルーオーシャン作戦は発動していない。ユーラシア脱出なんて聞かされてもいない。で小牧大尉は基地の被害状況を確認していたらしい。
Oh.
小牧大尉。
そうしている間に気象庁から情報が届いた。そこで数十分後には日本の広範囲に津波が到達することが分かったんだ。
Massive is an understatement.
帝都にいた大尉は戦術機で千葉の太平洋岸に出動。そこで住人の避難誘導に当たった。
10
予想
meters.
津波高は10メートル。
Holy crap, 10 meters.
誘導の
Such
甲斐
an
もあって
underestimate.
大尉の担当地域での人的被害はゼロだったようだ。もっとも地上のものは全部流されちまったみたいだが、ここまではいいか。
ええ、理解したわ。
じゃあ続けるぞ。その後日本では何が起こっていたのか。余震というには大きすぎる地震が続く中、再び津波に襲われることを懸念して全ての海岸沿いにある町の住人を一斉避難させることになった。
Yeah.
もちろん避難先は内陸にある高台や山だ。そしてそれは即時実行に移された。一方で被害を被りそうな基地にはありったけの船をかき集めて戦術機や重機を積み込めという命令が出た。
船に？どういうこと？
多くの人々が一斉に山に避難する中、陸路を占有できないし、戦術機を部隊規模で向かわせると混乱が起きる。
それで一時的に船に積み込んで沖に避難するってことか。
少なくとも大尉は、いや作業員たちも全員そう思っていた。
Yeah.
何よ、意味深ね。
その頃もう一つ別の命令が別の場所に下っていた。西軍。
川
Oh,
崎
I
重
clicked
工？
early. Sorry.
ゆずかのパパ？
Yeah.
そうだ。ひょっとしたらさらに別の場所にも同じ命令は下されてたかもしれないが、命令の内容は国外脱出。
Okay.
ありったけの資材人員を積み込んで脱出しろ。
So what if this was when Takaru had his memories? Maybe he had a flash of insight when the G-bombs detonated. Because the G-bombs are made of really space, timey-wimey messing up material. What if the detonation of it triggered a reflexive relapse of his memories? It's too late for him to have done anything about it, so events still transpired beyond the point of no return, but he was able to get a warning to the leader because he'd been incorporated into that chain of command, and the leader then issued an immediate order to get whatever resources was most important out of Japan, but sacrificing the people in that prospect because he wasn't evacuating them properly. And maybe that's part of why Takaru feels so bad, is because he A, remembered too late, and B, was technically part of the decision to abandon the majority of people on Japan.
ちょっと待って、 国外に脱出？とてもじゃないけど収容しきれないでしょう。それにどうしてそんな事態が発生するって分かったのよ。
海上に避難したのは津波の場合水深の深い沖合の方が安全だからってことだろ。
Because the alternative would imply someone knew Japan was going to sink, and there's no way that's possible.
それとちょうどこの時川崎重工は東南アジアに工場を建設するためにどでかいタンカーを何隻も確保してたって話だ。それに人と資材を可能な限り乗れるだけ乗せて出港する手はずだったらしい。
でも内陸に避難している人たちは港になんて来ないでしょ。だってそもそも沿岸部から離れるために避難したんだから。
And that allowed for the smooth evacuation of critical personnel.
そこなんだよ。だから小牧大尉はその話を聞いて変だと思ったと言っていた。そこで情報を大尉なりに検証してみた。
Oh.
結果大尉は信じたくない一つの結論に達した。征夷軍艦閣下は最初から限られた数の日本人しか救うつもりはなかった。
That's the kicker. If true, it's pretty terrible.
人間の脱出よりも戦術機や銃器、そういった資材の持ち出しを優先するために人々を内陸部へ避難させた。俺もその話を完全に信じてるわけじゃないけど、確かに状況証拠みたいなものは揃ってる気がしてる。
いくつか確認したいんだけど、川崎重工のその船、避難民以外には何が積み込まれていたの？
I can practically see the wheels turning inside her head. I knew Ellen wouldn't dismiss this story as just crazy talk. She's trying to probe around, poke holes in it. That's exactly what I was hoping for.
詳しくは聞いてないが、東南アジアに戦術機工場を建設するための重機、それとシアトル湾にそびえてるあの生産プラント、
Oddly convenient
あ
that
いつが積まれていたって話だ。
the two things in highest demand in a post-Babylon Babylon world, food and TSFs.
川崎重工の船は資材を下ろして国民を乗せたというわけではない。
そうなると思う。もちろん隙間に乗せられるだけ乗せたとは言ってたが、
They tried to get as many of their people. Given Mr. Glasses the benefit of the doubt, the ships probably were out on the open ocean already. Might have been too late to call them back to port by the time they learned about the tsunami.
大尉が何を考えたのか理解できたわ。多くの日本人も現場の帝国軍も全員騙された。
Yeah, if true.
いえ、この場合はうまく誘導されていたとでも言うのかしら。そしておそらくゆずかのパパは大尉と響に嘘をついた。
I agree with that.
全部を言わなかったと言うべき。
But that's actually even more disturbing, because if he didn't tell us the whole truth and he knew more, that maybe he was in on this from the beginning, that is even worse.
ああ、それが大尉の出した結論だ。
And it makes sense that he wouldn't let everything be told.
閣下にとって大事だったのは国民ではなく生産プラントや戦術機だった。
Because he deemed that those would be the most important things for Japan to maintain its own thing. Maybe that's the other thing too. Maybe Takaru remembered a world where they tried to evacuate people, most likely failed, or at least majority of them failed. And then Japan just got absorbed by the United States because they had nothing. So they just became refugees. I would love to say she's wrong, but there's too many things that seem off. For starters, the evacuation orders. Say the people weren't told to evacuate inland, but to the sea instead. No doubt ports would have been hectic and crowded, and loading equipment on board would have been outright impossible. Sure, this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I can't help suspecting the population was forced to evacuate inland to clear the way. And if that's true, the supreme military leader knew that Japan would be swallowed by the waves all along. But is that even possible? Maybe if they had incredibly accurate models predicting how the Great Ocean Collapse would unfold, which would raise more questions than answers.
だとしたら川崎重工だけじゃなく主だった兵器メーカーには同じような命令が出ていたと考えるべきよね。
Interesting point.
真偽は不明だ。富岳や三菱は 大解放でほぼ全滅しちまったらしいからな。
Yeah, maybe there's a reason why only this company stayed in. Maybe they were the only ones that had like committed like secretly to supporting like the Japanese like royal guard directly. Practically all the ships that didn't manage to escape in time were caught by those mega tsunamis. Same thing happened to our carrier actually. Those waves were dozens of meters tall. If we were lucky the keel wasn't damaged too badly, or we'd have been sleeping with the fishes.
生き残ってる人たちもいるとは思うが、裏は取れていない。でも、その可能性が高いと大尉は考えている。この話、どう思う?
The only other thing I can think of is this would be a clever way to fish out whether or not Ellen is a spy by feeding her a story that she'd be likely to pass on that they could disprove. But the sad thing is, like, what if it's the truth and they try and use it to ferret out any spies? So they ferret out spies because they have a good cover story that they're holding back, but they purposefully let this information out to see what would happen.
どうって、おかしいに決まってるわよ。政府が蘇生して国民を救おうとしないなんて。
そうだよな。でもそのおかげで俺たちはこうしていられる。だがもしあの時避難民を優先していたら、俺たちはフランスよりひどい状態に陥ってた。
That's the thing. If I were in his shoes, I had an entire nation like I had to take care of. I had maybe like, and if I'm right, the Takaru like if Takaru got access to his memories after the bombs detonated, so the damage is already done. They can't stop it. Then I would say he made roughly the right call. Not for the saving of most lives in the short term, but possibly in the long term, especially of Japan being a sovereign nation still. If that's his priority, then he made the right choices. But it's terrible, terrible choices that he seems all too happy with, and that's the problem I see.
食料もなければ奪い取る武力もない。文字通り最悪の状態だ。
The only reason we're not in the same boat is because the right number of people survived, and that was the intended result. Man, talk about hard choices.
何言ってるの？大丈夫？それは結果論でしょ？イカルガ閣下は今の日本を予見できてたとでも言うつもり？
Normally, no. But this is Muv-Luv we're talking about. There are precedents for this.
大解放が起きるかどうかすらわからなかった頃に、ヨシンバ、バビロン作戦に関わる極めて少数の人間はそれを知っていたとして、閣下がその一人だったとして。
And she's got a good point here that there's a lot of assumptions that are being made with this theory.
そんな彼らが大解放によってこんな風になってしまうという予想まで立てていたっていうの？
Again, I would also argue it doesn't have to be Takaru. Like, Yuko Sensei practically understood what was going to happen. Like, maybe she didn't know every detail, but she knew enough to be horrified by the idea of Alternative 5. Like, she was desperate to provide something else. To the point when remember in Unlimited when she was denied, she went on to drunken stupor. She's just like, screw the world's over. It's all over. Like, she knew. So even if then, they might have just had access to her information.
それって地球上にたったこれだけしか国や人が残らない世界を彼らは望んで作ったってことにならない？それこそおかしいと思わないの？
And this line of thinking is what makes me think that the Takaru result is the more likely one, because Takaru realizing what was going to happen just as the bombs dropped, meaning they had maybe a couple hours before the mega tsunamis hit. That is a decision I could see them making with only a few hours to work with. You know, when the chip's already down, Japan's already doomed, there's nothing that can be done to save it. So what do you focus on saving? And what's your answer to that? What would your answer be to that? Because, frankly, if I were put in that position where I had a couple hours and I could only save a small amount of things, what would I focus on? I think food, fresh water, and military. I'd want to save as many people as possible, absolutely. But if I didn't have the time or the resources, and knowing, if I knew that this was going to happen, and I knew that even if I had more people out, it would just mean more people would starve, because we barely can feed the people we have. There's a very good logic there. There's a really good sound logic there. A logic that I genuinely could get behind, but could understand why they would be horrified by it, because it is horrifying. It's terrifying. But that's the problem, is that leaders end up having to make really tough decisions like that. It's not like this is like simple, like, you know, party line type of partisans dividing. This is life and death. This is all or nothing. This is too late to do anything else but scavenge the best future we can. And so I think he probably made the correct choice. Not the right choice, but the correct choice. And I don't know if I would be able to do much different in his shoes that would be as good. But I'd feel horrifying by it. I would probably destroy myself from that terrible decision.
だよな。やっぱりおかしいよな。
Oh, it makes a lot of sense, actually.
ちょっと響。こんなことで私を試さないでくれる？
I like how she thinks like that, too. She's got a point. Me and the captain, we probably jumped the gun. Anyone would feel the same after Ellen's hearing this thing. All it sounds almost as possible as the stupid rumors about orbital drivers getting killed by orange juice or something. I mean, come on, the Supreme Military Leader knew everything that was going to happen. Completely out of the question. Me and Her Highness are on the same side. She's dead set against the Royal Guard's plans. The only natural I'm predisposed to expect the worst from them. Everybody deserves a fair shake. I shouldn't give in to my biases.
じゃあ閣下は神の預言者ってこと？彼のすることに従っていれば私たちは生き延びられるってわけかしら？
俺だって納得はしてねえよ。でも閣下の想定通りに状況は動いている。とんでもない状況判断で俺たちを救ってるのは事実だろ。
But he's being practical. Like, he's not blinded by morality, but he's still moral, which is good. It's a good combination. You don't get something like that right because of sheer luck. That simply doesn't happen.
そういう割には態度が否定的よね。何が不満なの？正義軍艦の判断が正しいって思うのなら納得して従ってればいいじゃない。
I just had a really interesting thought. What if Ellen is a spy, but she's not a spy for Canada? What if she's a spy for the Royal Guard? What if they bought her with the promise of accepting her, providing her with resources she needs, and letting her continue being a TSF pilot? And in return, she just tells them information on people in the IMJDF. That'd be interesting.
夕日殿下の理想が好きなんだよ。殿下の理想を実現した方が幸せだって俺は思うんだよ。閣下がこれから先俺たちをどこに導こうとしているのかなんて見当もつかない。だけどそれは現実を積み重ねた先にあるもののような気がするんだ。
Yeah.
この絶望的な世界で現実の先にある未来、そこで生き続けることは本当に幸せなんだろうか。
それは。
いや、分かってる。正義軍艦の行いの解釈は全部俺の思い込みで何の確証もない話だ。でもだから悩んでる。俺は殿下の理想の方を叶えたいと思ってる。その方がいいって思い込んでる。でもそれが正しいことなのかどうかわからん。
Lofty ideals are fine and all, but nothing comes without a price. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And it's no stretch to say she wants to make a mother of all omelets.
助けになるかどうかわからないけど、意見していいかしら？
Please do.
ああ、もちろんだ。
きっとユズカのパパも彼の立場なりにそういう悩みを持ってたはずよ。日本脱出命令が下った時、資材を優先することに対して現場にいた彼は何も感じなかったのかしら。私はそうは思わない。
So here's the interesting thing. So her dad had to do that. And then we think of Yuzaka. What are the choices that she had to make when they crossed the plains? They were similar, weren't they? In fact, Yuzaka's might be even worse because she had to be very directly involved in the shenanigans that she had to get up to. So in a way, they're not that different. In fact, there might be too similar.
でもそこで説得されたのか気づいたのかはわからないけど、その命令の意味を彼は理解した。そしたらあとは心の問題よ。それに従うのかどうか。
Knowing your decisions could lead some good people to lose their lives. Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
彼もいろいろ考えたでしょうね。それこそ今の響きのように知り得る知識を総動員して状況を判断したのだと思う。結局彼はイカルガ閣下を信じるという選択をした。その結果多くの避難民を見捨てることになった。
Shh, phone. Quiet. I'm so sorry, everyone.
彼もきっと閣下の指示が正しかったことに内心驚いているでしょうね。そして今となってはその手助けができたことに誇りを感じていると思う。
Yeah.
だから彼はこの先死ぬまでその責任を取り続けるでしょう。誇りを持って。そして閣下を裏切ることは絶対にない。
The really scary thing though is because like I honestly agree. Like I think Ellen's right, and I think I would be as not like this is making assumptions that like there was knowledge. They're like, okay, we know what this is gonna happen. I feel like if they had more time, they could have done more, but maybe they couldn't. And if they couldn't, then I think I'm on board with what they ended up doing. I think I'm gonna do a poll on this. I'll try and remember that. Actually, I'll put that in my phone right now. But the idea is that like if you have limited time and there's not much else that can be done, do you make the sacrifice willingly to prioritize the stuff that's going to be the most important in the near future? And like, can you live with that choice afterwards? That's the big question. Can you... I think a leader has to be able to make hard choices like that and move on, accepting the blame for themselves and not trying to put it on others. I do feel like he's too happy with the way things are going, but that might just be because he feels like his choices, while harsh, were the best for this nation, but like I still don't like that. I think there needs to be a level of morality there. There needs to be a lot of regret there. I think you need to be able to make that choice without hesitation, but never let it be forgotten, the sacrifices that were required. Because the thing is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Like, sure, it might seem like the right decision now, but to play with lives like that, even once, can't it lead you to just see them as numbers on a sheet? And once you start seeing them as numbers and not people, what other things are you willing to sacrifice in order to obtain the greater good? It's a slippery slope. Do I think it's all wrong always to make these types of choices? No, I think it's practical, it's necessary, it's inevitable, really. But there's a fine line. There's got to be that level of morality. There's got to be that regret. There's got to be that hesitation. There's got to be a part of those decisions, regardless. As soon as that starts eroding away, as soon as you start, focusing on spreadsheets rather than on people, it gets really easy to start making unnecessary sacrifices for microscopic gains. And that's where it starts getting really deadly. Yeah, because if he did, all those deaths would have been in vain.
響だって同じ立場に立たされているんじゃない？残念ながらイカルガ閣下やユーヒ殿下が何をしようとしているのか、その意味までは理解できていないようだけど。
His Excellency is trying to secure a strong, prominent future for Japan, and hopefully one he sees in which Japan leads the world because he believes that they're the best to do so. Everyone else is proven incompetent, right? I think Yui wants to see a world where humanity, unites to prevent the Theta from rising up again and striving to work together for the greatest good of all. Like, essentially, she sees a world of cooperation and acceptance, and like she said it before, like the maximum amount of people need to be saved. And that's a really great ideal. But that's the problem, it's an ideal. Would she be able to actually convince these nations who are starving to work together? Would she be able to convince the Japanese people to embrace famine again, but voluntarily, to share food with other people who were trying to kill them not too long ago? Could you do that? Would it be worth it? Probably. But are you going to actually be able to pull that off? That's a question, and I don't know if there's an answer to that.
でもその代わり、響にはゆずかのパパには与えられなかった時間がある。今答えを出してもいいし、もっと悩んでもいい。
Yeah, make a decision now or let it simmer, but you don't have time.
響はもう少しだけ、二人が見ている未来を、今二人が掲げるものの意味を探ろうとしたっていいのよ。でも、これだけは考えておいて。イカルガ閣下と夕日殿下が対立したら、その時はどうするの？
Oh, they're already clashing, but what if it gets really intense?
その答えを、そんなことが起きる前に明確にできる人が信頼されるんじゃない？
True.
時間があるからといって、それに甘えていると、取り返しがつかなくなるから、気をつけてね。
Time is the one thing you can never get back. She's got that right. I better spend what time I've got in my hands meaningfully, or I'll be at risk of making the wrong choice when it matters the most. That's actually really true. A good tactic my parents always passed on to me when it came to like life-altering decisions is make the decision before you end up facing it. Like, think of what could happen, make the choice of what you will do in that situation, and assuming like new information doesn't persuade you otherwise, you already have your choice made. For instance, like, I've never been interested in drugs or alcohol, just because I saw what it did to people. Even alcohol, I just didn't like that. I didn't want that to be me. Even if like normally alcohol is not a big problem to take in moderation, but I just didn't even want to, risk that, because I've seen people go off the deep end. I've seen how it can destroy lives. So I just decided I didn't want that to be a part of my life. I've never bothered trying, and I don't want to. I'm never going to. Like, you could take me out to a bar and try and pressure me to do it. I'm not going to do it, because I chose not to a long time ago, and I'm sticking to that. Do I think it's like bad or evil? No, absolutely not. I have lots of friends who drink, and I'm totally fine with that. I also just totally fine with always being a designated driver. I'm totally okay with being the one person who stays sober, because I chose that. If you choose these types of things beforehand, it gives you a good leg to stand on when the chips are down and you're in a position where you might be under pressure, whether it be social or timeliness or anything. Now, granted, you should always keep your mind open to changing your mind on decisions, but the time for that is when new information comes up. You want to have your fallback already established, and if you don't about critical stuff, that's going to leave things up to chance, and that's not great to do when it comes to life-altering decisions. Like, I think another good one is for intimacy. Like, it's fun to have intimate moments with people, but like, you got to make sure you're prepared. You got to have your like barriers in place. Like I would say, like, things like contraception, protection, that kind of stuff. Like, you have to have that established. You have to have those rules, because you don't think clearly in the heat of the moment. You need to have it set up already. You need to be prepared. And that, like, it's the thing, because like, those are life-altering decisions if you're not careful. Anyway, got a bit of a soapbox there, but like, I hope you understand like what I mean.
ああ、それから私の言葉、あくまでも想像に基づいた意見だから。ゆずかのパパ、もっと悪人かもしれないわよ。
It's very rare when people are just genuinely evil. Like, it just really doesn't happen.
そこでそういう逃げを打つのかよ。
あら、決めるときは自己責任って言っただけよ。
言われなくても分かってるよ。元からそのつもりだし。
It's not like I wanted to bring this up because I was fishing for answers or something.
どうせ答えは決まってるくせに。ちょっと相手の桁外れの凄さを垣間見ておじけづいちゃったのね。
うるせえな。
響は誰を信じるの？
夕日殿下だ。
It ain't just because I like her on a personal level or because we share the same goals. Major Jinguji also cares for the Shogun a great deal, to the point where she would gladly sacrifice her own life. That speaks volumes about Her Highness's character. If the person who was my mentor, who remains my role model, believes in her, that settles it for me. Yeah, I'll follow Her Highness to the ends of the earth.
どっちをひいきにするにせよ、私は響の選択を支持するわよ。
Oh, that's nice.
ああ、ありがとうな。しかし本当、エレンって意外性の女だよな。
Hang on. This is a good picture of her. Very thoughtful, very fun.
あら、どういう意味？
なんていうか、軽い感じを装ってるくせに、実は頭もいいし気も回る。意見も的確だし、とにかくギャップが大きいよ。
I'm the opposite. I seem really analytical and potentially smart, but then the real me is like easygoing and stuff.
そうかしら。そんなに私ギャップがある？
自分で気がついてないってのか？嘘つけ。むしろ狙ってやってるんじゃないのか？
バカね、買いかぶりすぎよ。私そんなに器用じゃないし。
どうだかな。オービットダイバーといえば英士の最高峰だ。そこに登り詰めるだけの能力がありゃ簡単だろう。
Oh, Hibiki, you might be right.
それこそ買いかぶり。技術も度量も全く響にはかなわないわよ。
なんだこの謙遜大会。
Look at Ellen acting all precious and stuff. Teehee, am I cute?
本当ね。
さて、それじゃあ次はエレンの話を聞くとするか。
そういえばそういう話もあったっけ？
とぼけんな。遠慮するなよ。俺だっておじけづいたかっこ悪い話したんだから。
What?
またかよ。最近多いな。電子レンジでも増やしたのかな。この店見かけによらず古いらしくてさ。あれ？
Ellen? Holy crap. Is she like ducked under the table?
おい、エレン！
Oh, fetch.
おい、しっかりしろエレン！どうした？
Oh, man. There's the PTSD. What's she so afraid of?
具合が悪いのか？ならすぐ医者を。
行かないで行かないで、お願い行かないで。もう少ししたら落ち着くから。
I'm guessing this is related to the events that happened in the orbit. Power gets cut. Lose all control. What's going on with her? I don't know, man. I would guess a psychotic breakdown because everyone's super traumatized.
いやー、久しぶりにお酒らしいお酒飲んでるわ。
And she gets herself slammed. Alright, that's where we're going to end it for today. That was interesting. Hopefully we get to learn more about that. I'm guessing they're going to have a conversation that dives into it. So I think we're going to end that here. But hey, what an interesting episode. A lot of really spicy theory going here. So yeah, I'll see what you guys think about that. Like I said, I'm going to probably throw up a poll. It's going to be very vague, but I'm kind of like along the lines of the morality. Like it's kind of like the minecart situation. It's yeah, you're in charge. You're the leader of a nation, and you learn that in a few hours a massive natural disaster is about to occur, and you only have the resources to save, like you can either prioritize saving like the resources necessary to help people survive like after the disaster, or to try and save as many people as possible. What do you focus on? Like, I think that's along the lines of what I'm going to try and make. But yeah, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that. Like, if you did the poll, awesome, I'll check there. But if you don't do the poll, I'd still like to know in the comments down below, like, what do you think? Like, what kind of approach would you be with? And like, would you, if everything we've discussed is true, which I think there's a good chance that at least a lot of it is true, do you think he did the wrong thing? I think he did a heartless, terrible, terrible thing. But I still think it was the right thing to do. It was just terrible. You know, sometimes the right thing is terrible. Sometimes the wrong thing feels like the merciful thing, but I don't know. It's like dealing with nature. Like, you feel like you see something like a snake crawling into a bird's nest to eat the baby birds. Like, you want to save the baby birds because, oh no, the little babies. But it's like, that snake has just as much right to survive as the birds do. The snake has to devour food like that. It's like the way it survives. It's part of the natural cycle. Is it right to intervene when the natural order is playing out just because it's something that you don't find appealing? That's the question, right? Like, how much do you interfere and how do you interfere? It's very odd to have to try and answer those questions. So, what do you guys think? But anyway, regardless of that, thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. It's always a pleasure having you here. It's a pleasure just being able to share this adventure with you. So I hope you guys continue to enjoy yourselves. And until the next video watching me up, see me in next. I'll see you there.